Hello. Hey, you guys. It's your girl, Miss Mouthy and Lips. I missed y'all so much. And if it's your first time listening to the Miss Mouthy podcast, welcome. You have stumbled upon a podcast that centers the narratives and experience of trans and non binary folks and the allies that love and support us. And so I'm coming to y'all straight from the queendom of my home. I just wanted to be able to get back on here. I know y'all been asking, like, what's going on, Miss Rousey? All the things, all the things, where you been? I'm here. I ain't went nowhere. Y'all, life is life, man. And you got to take the good with the bad. So I needed to entitle this episode, God's Glory Will Highlight the Joy. Why? Because I am in a place in my life where you really realize how much glory life has given you, where you can acknowledge the different things and it will center your joy. It will put you around the people and the spaces and the places. You do this when I'm recording. It'll take you around the places, the spaces, and the people that you need to be around to really experience joy in such a forgiving and unexpected way. I recently just came back from the Black Trans Advocacy Conference, also known as BTEC. And before I get into all of that, I definitely wanted to let y'all know this month is May. It's your girl birthday month for one, okay? And y'all know how I feel about my birthday holiday. Also, two, I feel like it is Mental Health Awareness Month. And all this month, I think it's so imperative that if you do not know about mental health, if you're not invested in mental health, maybe you could get familiar around it because there's no way that you can get over it. Like it's something that's constantly going to happen in this experience of life. And especially why mental health is so important to me is because when you go through something, right, no matter what life brings your way, it is going to have an impact on your mental, whether that's how you interact with friends and family, whether it's your job, whether it's things you've been through in your past, something about mental health, or even it don't necessarily have to be in a bad way, but even in mental health, how you just show up, you want to know yourself ins and out, right? So if you know how your body is and how much you weigh and all the things, you need to know what your triggers are. You need to know what your traumas are. You need to know these different things so that you can be prepared to be your best self and put your best foot forward and show up for yourself. How do you care for yourself in a way that makes you where everything around you is not detrimental to your health? And I know for one, I have grown tremendously when it has come to my mental health, not only in the instance of knowing more about it and breaking down that stigma, but also using the tools that people have given me, like my therapist. That is important. Or even having conversations with my friends, having heartfelt conversations where I can be vulnerable with my friends have really shaped how my mental health is and all the things. And so I just want y'all to be encouraged that break the stigma around mental health. As Black people, especially Black queer folks, we need to we need all the help. We need all the help that we can get. So be encouraged to get into therapy, do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, and don't be ashamed of it. Whatever you need, if you need to be medicated, if you need to talk to a therapist, whatever you need, if you need to be take a little break, a little sabbatical, do whatever you need to do for your mental health because it's so important. Surround yourself with people who are loving and affirming you and not bringing you that stress. But let's get into BTEC, y'all. So BTEC is the largest Black advocacy trans conference in the nation. If you do not know, you need to go check it out because ain't no gatekeeping over here. I'm going to tell y'all what it is. Y'all already know. Y'all can come to me and get the resources that y'all need or figure out the informations, the who's, the what's. I had such a ball at BTEC this year. I didn't even know I could surpass last year. So shout out to SB and Carter Brown over there at BTEC doing their thing. So let's go back to last year. Last year was my first time ever going to BTEC, hearing about BTEC. I saw like glimpses and pieces of it where I was like, okay, it look cute, but where is that? Is it a who's who? Is this the elites? Like, in our community, we kind of see the who's and the what's and the have nots. And I was just like, well, I don't mind that. Not knowing that you could just go. You could just go. You could just register and go. So eventually I went for their 10th anniversary, changed my life. It was pivotal. It was in a way. Please go sit down, Bella. Thank you. Please, it changed my life. And when I say it transformed the way that I thought about the work. It transformed the way I thought about community. It transformed the way I thought about myself. Okay, that's how powerful it was. It transformed the way I thought about relationships. Um, and so this year I wanted to give back. I wanted to do something like, yes, of course, I wanted to attend BTEC, but I also wanted to be very intentional to be like, how can I show up? How can I do my part? What can I do? And what's so life changing about that, right? Is that whatever you offer up is willing, they're willing to find a space and a place for everybody of our community. And so I was just like, this is what I do. Like, I'm a podcaster. How can I da 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 da? They said, oh, you want to do interviews? I said, yeah, sure. Yeah, I do. Because I think it's like when we think about media and we think about social justice, we can use both of them. We can bridge both of the gaps to know that what we love to do and how we want to create and impact change can still happen no matter what you do. And so being able to archive people's stories and their history and their work, you learn so much around what everybody put into this movement to be able to push us forward and what lessons they have learned and who they have known and to uplift our ancestors that came before us. So I wanted to be able to touch on that, but I definitely wanted to give a special shout out to the Black Trans Fund for always partnering and uplifting the work here at Miss Mouthy Podcast. And I also want to give a special shout out to SB and Carter Brown for hosting this amazing conference this year. I do not know how y'all do it. I know there's a slew of amazing people that hold y'all all together and do their work. But what made me want to entitle God's Glory Will Give You Joy is that when y'all talk about this vision that y'all seen 11 years ago, probably more than that, I believe I've learned that it was 13 years ago. When y'all come into this fruition of being able to see something for yourselves and y'all community, that is the glory that's led by God. And so when you in this space at BTEC, you can feel it. You can feel the presence of the Lord being amongst you and everybody else. You feel this sense of relief while you're there. And I just never been in a space that's like that. Also, y'all, let me tell y'all about a very beautiful moment. I cried. I am not a crier. I'm too G for this shit. Okay. But while I was doing an interview with a young lady, shout outs to Jennifer, it was the moment of two Black women coming together and having a very vulnerable moment in a real conversation that impacts our community. And I swear it was life changing. And I couldn't hold it. Like it was one of those things where you forget that the camera was there and me and her was just in that moment. And I'm so thankful for her to be able to trust me in this process and have a openness with me and just simply tell her truth. And so I wanted to honor her that. And I know people, there is a lot of videos and material that is still being edited and put out, but I will assure you that when you follow the Miss Mouthy podcast on YouTube, there will be either some shorts of your interviews that you've done with me, or I will put it on IG, but it definitely will be a way where you can get the clip of what you said, what you've offered up, and what you poured into your girl. It's going to be somewhere on the YouTube channel, and you can be able to share it out onto your platform. So I'm going to give y'all a little sneak peek about it. Then we can dive in and learn some history, and hopefully it'll encourage everybody else to follow the BTEC fam and really get into the work and the mission that they're doing over there. And I'm not going to lie to y'all. When I first heard last year that it was in Texas, I was like, oh, no, baby, count me out. But Texas ain't stopped nothing. This ain't Texas. Okay. You could go ahead and play the first video for me. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Lips. It's your girl, Miss Mouthy, and we are here at BTEC 2024 in Dallas, Texas. And this year is Believing in Trans Joy, Freedom, and Victory. So let me tell y'all, on the first day, there definitely was this energy that was unsurpassed with excitement, enthusiasm. There even was a little beard war, y'all. When it came to the pageantry, people showed up and showed out and came in love and support and put their money where their mouth was. And so I cannot wait to see the pageant. I can't wait to see all the things that transpire. And like, it was so beautiful to see everyone in white. Also, we got to set our intentions, and it was the first time I've ever been in a space to set my intentions. Just how do I want to come into the space and how do I want to leave the space? And it was so beautiful to be able to also be amongst that and be vulnerable for a moment to see what is the purpose why you're here in BTech. And so I'm going to have some people come in. I want to talk about where they're from, what type of work they're doing, what brings them to BTech, why spaces like this is so important, and how do we continue to move the needle. So if you are here at the conference, come see me in the media room. We're going to get it popping. So let's go have a good time and love on each other here at BTech 2024. Bye. Yeah, and so now we're going to have some interviews from a few different participants. Like I said again, if you have not, if you don't see your stuff in this segment, know that you will be on the podcast at some point, somehow. I'm definitely not going to leave anybody who showed up to the media room left out in this. But I've learned so much, you guys. Like I got to meet Diamond Styles, who is an amazing podcaster as well. I learned some history about the origin of how her stuff came to do, the work that she does. Um, yeah, and like even just sitting down hearing the story between her and Monica Roberts, just amazing. Iconic. You can't get that history anywhere else but at BTech. So, all right, let's get into our first person. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, y'all. It's your girl, Miss Mouthy. I'm still here at BTech 2024, where we are believing in trans joy, freedom, and victory. And I have an amazing special guest with me. Special guest, can you introduce yourself for the people?
Absolutely. I am Jacoby Gray. He, him, pronouns, enhance.
Okay, period.
And I am a resident of Dallas-Fort Worth area. This is where I've grown up, and this is where I live currently.
Okay, so tell me about your first experience at BTech and how that came about.
Well, actually, my first experience was in 2017.
Okay.
I started my transition in 2017. I took my first HRT shot in February, and then BTAC was in April. And so when I was still like very fresh in my transition, but it was a wonderful time because that's when I became connected with the people who are still a big part of BTAC, and it made such a huge difference to be able to be educated about things that I was still really trying to learn.
Yeah. So what keep you invested in coming back to BTech?
The information, the connection, the family. When I first started to come, it was like really just a family because being so new to the environment, it's hard to find people that are just like me.
Yeah.
And especially back in 2017. In 2017, there was some verbiage that hadn't even been generated yet.
That's
so
true.
We were still trying to find words to understand what things were. BTAC was where I learned what the word cis mean, and that may sound like really uneducated, but I didn't know. I knew who I was on the inside, and so I was becoming that person on the outside. But there was a lot of terminology, a lot of things about different programs, a lot of things about surgeries, all these different things. I learned the root of those at BTAC.
Oh, thank you so much for that. So one of the things that's so important is how we're able to be in spaces, but within our own silos and folks of our own. So what has it been like for you to be able to build this brotherhood with men in this space, and what have you taken away from or been impacted by while being here?
Well, the brotherhood now, first and foremost, that is huge. Like I said, I came in 2017. A lot of things initiatives were still getting off the ground with BTAC, and it wasn't near, of course, the size that it is now. But during that time, I was able to connect with, because at that time they were still kind of trying to integrate the actual trans women as well as the gender non-conforming. So it was still a lot more trans men that I was able to connect to. because of that, I was able to join some of the groups, and they were able to explain some things to me. But at the same time, I was able to see these men living regular lives, and that made the difference to me because I saw them in business atmospheres. In our communications, even though we may have lived in different cities, I was hearing about promotions here, about job changes there, or about someone moving somewhere. And I was able to see that not only were they living their truth at BTEC, they were living regular life, and that's what I saw was possible. That was a huge thing to me, to see that I could still be true to me and live a regular life, and it didn't just have to be in a setting that was only trans-centered. And I took that away because I was able to say I can be the type of man that I am on the inside. Because that was another thing I saw, that not just like with any men, no one's a cookie cutter, no one's exactly alike. And so I was able to see that not every man has misogyny, but not every man is so masculine that they forget about the feminine side of it. So to see that spectrum was there, as well as being able to maintain their lives in the corporate world, the work world, the family world, the church world, that made such a huge difference to me in my growth and being able to achieve who I always felt on the inside and bring it outside.
Yeah. You may have hinted on this, but in our most recent climate, and you being from Texas, why are spaces like BTEC so important?
It's really important in spaces like Texas. I mean, it's Texas, Florida, a few other states that unfortunately we have legislature that really just wish that they could wipe us off the map.
Yeah.
If there was a way that they could take an...
Yeah, and so if y'all want to watch the rest of the interview, know that it'll be on the YouTube or my Instagram at I am Miss Mouthy. And that interview was amazing. It was so important to learn from an older Black trans man around the history of BTEC, and also just how to move the needle in such a perspective of a religious way. And that's more into the full interview. But now we'll go into the second one.
Hello, hello, hello. It's your girl, Miss Mouthy, and we're still here at BTEC 2024, where we're believing in Black trans joy, freedom, and victory. And so I have y'all don't even know how iconic this person is, okay? Special guest, can you let the people know who you are and what you do?
My name is AJ Scruggs. My pronouns are he, they, king. Use them all or just use my name. And I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about how you come to your affiliation with BTEC.
Actually, I was around when BTEC first started BTMI started. I was actually a part of the DMV chapter of leadership. I helped organize the very first ball, the Black Diamond Ball here. That's every year, which I'm really, really proud of, and watched it grow. So I was just involved with the organization, and then came a little bit of a separation because I needed to grow as a leader. So I stepped away and I started Visible Truth 365.
I think that's so important to recognize because people don't understand that. I worked for a prestige organization that I respected. I loved their work ethics, and as a leader, I felt like I wasn't there to give my 100% and I needed to grow in ways. But then also, there was a part of me where I knew I wanted to develop Mouthy and I wanted to do something in a different type of way in my leadership. And sometimes you have to go, like you said, and grow in that before. I don't know if I would ever do that here, but I would assist. Now that I have my own entity, I would definitely find ways to partner or assist in their work and their values. So sometimes as people, we don't necessarily have to be in it to know that we can still uplift their mission. So what one thing that you just had a session, can you talk a little bit about what your session was around?
So it's Beyond the Vote, doing movement work through policy. I was very fortunate enough to be taught by the late great Cecilia Gelenti about policy work, and also a point of engagement for me is HIV and HIV criminalization, and not necessarily having the skills to know how to fight that. So once I developed those skills, I wanted to share those with other Black trans people because there's not enough Black faces in the civic engagement arena. Working in legislation and policy, there's nobody that looks like me, unless they're cisgender. And even then, we know that cisgender folks are not always going to prioritize us.
No, that's real. And even with this climate that is coming up, why are spaces like BTEC so important to be?
BTEC is so important for a multitude of reasons, and I'm gonna talk about my personal reason. As a Black trans leader, I need rest. I need community. I need to be able to be a part of community and not the leader of said community, because I need to be poured back into, because we're constantly pouring. So BTEC gives me that community, gives me that family. Like, I tell everybody about Family Day, and like, for the first time, I go to a cookout and I'm not the gay cousin.
Yeah, no,
Because
that's
everybody's
real.
a gay cousin.
No, that's real.
That's what I look forward to every single year, Family Day, and then being able to watch people bring their families. And like, this is what Black trans joy looks like. Like, the possibilities of like me having a family is right there in front of me. Me having a wife, partner, or boyfriend, whomever I want, I can bring them and they won't feel ostracized. They're actually being welcomed. I'm being welcomed, and I'm, like I said, I don't feel like the gay cousin. Like, they all the gay cousins.
Yeah, no, for real.
And then like, you get to really build with people over a week and like build genuine bonds. So like, I love this place for so many reasons.
So many reasons. It's so life changing, and like, I've never had.
Yeah, and again, full video gonna come out with everybody's interview. I just love AJ. I think AJ is amazing. BTEC also offer up time for me to get connections with folks who, in other ways, we live in so many different other places that we don't never get to connect, or we're so busy in our leadership that we don't get to sit down and have those one-on-ones. So I'm so thankful that BTEC and SB and Carter planted a seed in me. This is for any young person who is, for anybody, hell, when somebody plants a seed in you. I'm so grateful for BTEC for planting a seed in me and allowing me to show up in my gift, show up in my purpose. And sometimes, no matter what the consensus or the people around you may feel, when it's your time will show effortlessly. When your moment, when you are supposed to be in your light, it will happen. And that's part of this thing. People don't know this about me, but I ran away from my leadership for so long. So many people had seen great things in me that I was unwilling to see in myself. I did not want to see it because, you don't have a master's, you don't have a doctorate. So it's like, what does that mean for you? Like, what does that mean? Does that mean you're less value? Hell no. That means that you're just greater in other ways. Sometimes it's the access, but do not denounce yourself because you don't have the things that other people. It's no comparison. And one of the biggest things is how I often say, like, what God destiny has for you you can't divot from that. You have to steer the course. You have to see it through. And when we think about these nonprofit, I see all these leaders and I'm like, oh my God, they're doing great work and all the things and da 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 da. I never wanted it to be me. And I promise y'all, my homegirl, Latricia, can contest to this. We had a conversation months ago and she was like, you need to start your own nonprofit. And I was just like, okay, girl. Okay, I hear you. But I wasn't ready yet. I was so invested in Mouthy, and I'm still invested in Mouthy, but I just could not see something so big for myself until Mouthy started to shape my ministry, until I was able to start hosting events and giving back to the community and giving the girls money and hosting food drives and all the things. Then it was like, oh, then not only am I creating opportunity and learning out how I want to show up in my leadership, but I'm being able to collab with other amazing folks. I'm able to give other organizations opportunity to show up in their skill set. And so I do want to also shout out Dolls Night Detroit. If you don't know, you don't know. But they live service. They have a live fund that is impeccable. Chef Kiss. It's been very great to be able to see that Black trans films and non-binary folks, we are going to show up and take care of ourselves regardless. So I'm just thankful to them. If you are someone who has the means to be able to support local grassroots organizations, please pour into Dolls Night Detroit because they are doing some really amazing work. But to announce, I did start my own nonprofit with just oh, with just knowing the need, right? To understand that you are one on one and the vision that God gives you, you have to carry it out. You may not carry it out right when he give it to you, because again, I was running away from it, but I found joy in bringing people together. I brought joy in hosting a panel and uplifting the legacies of women who preceded me. I found joy to be able to give young trans youth an opportunity to be leaders and let more people know about the work that they're doing. I found joy in being able to use my partnerships to be able to fund other people and give this money to folks that need it. I found joy to be able to share and expand the audience of amazing artists. Um, that's already great. And we just need to share out our platform and share out our spaces and connections and ability to shine light and grow brighter together with other people. And so I just wanted to say that like Black Films United is my organization, BFU for short. Um, when I came up with this organization, it was shortly after the Lady Legacy panel and just recognizing who I am, what I offer up, what I need to do, and God said now. He said now, clear as day. I can't run anymore. I can't shrink myself to fit anybody else's mold. I can't be afraid of stepping on anyone's toes because that's the problem. This ideal of scarcity around all of us not being able to show up and be great, us not being able to the funding source is the funding source. We're going to get the money and we're going to get the money. And so to just think in this idea that we all have to be one of one, crazy. But a little bit about Black Films United is created with the focus of creating and supporting and enriching the lives of Black trans and Black film gender expansive people with the focus on art, leadership, and community needs. And so I can't wait to see what great things come from it. Just like with Miss Mouthy, I had a vision. I didn't know where it was going to go, but I know I wanted to do it. And so 4 years later, here we are, still having a podcast, still building out, still changing ideas quite often. And I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to birth this baby. And it happened in May. May 1st was when I launched everything. Um, I have some great ideas to come along with, but better yet, I get to build with some very powerful, intentional people that want to do work that allows us to all show up in our greatness. Us along the like gender spectrum, we can be able to show up. These hyper femme folks that people like to like make us funny or make us the butt of the joke. We're gonna move some shit. We're gonna shake some shit. And so let's get into our other video before I carry on.
Hello, hello, hello. Hey, y'all. It's your girl, Miss Mouthy, and we're still here at BTEX 2024 conference where we are believing in trans joy, freedom, and victory. And I have a beautiful, beautiful, amazing guest. Special guest, can you let the people know who you are and where you're from?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ms. Mouthy. My name is Donna Simone Toussaint. I reside in New Jersey. My work extends from the tri-state all the way to national and international. My pronouns are she, her, they. Goddess works perfectly well. I am the Director of Program and Advocacy at Marsha P. Johnson Institute, and I'm also the founder of Reuniting of African Descendants, also known as ROAD, in which we believe that all roads leads to home. And at Marsha Institute, we believe in the safety of Black trans people.
Okay, come on. Let me first say, y'all, if y'all can feel her energy in this room, I love it.
Thank you.
Tell me about how you first come to encounter BTEC.
I first encountered BTEC through AJ Scruggs. Well, also have known about BTEC for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Have not attended. resources, finances, all those things were not, they were not
Okay,
connected.
the teens was
All
thinking.
right, and as a black trans woman, opportunities like this doesn't always happen or come, especially if there's uh, tension around finances. And so this year, thank God, working with the amazing team at Marsha P. Johnson Institute, but also being connected in community, so many community members came through to make sure that I was able to be here. And thank God that this is my first experience, because what I am experiencing is a freedom of joy, love, liberation, and connection. It feels like the black trans utopia. It feels like the cookout where you can see TT, Auntie, and Grandma Undam, and you get that her story, that trans story, to really remember our ancestors that carried us through. And while we are here, there is a vibration on the soil of where we are, where we're collectively together. There is a call to action in the space. There is the presence of God in the space. And it is confirmation that we all, in our blackness and our African diaspora, is showing up, that it reminds us to live. It reminds us to thrive. It reminds us that we are not alone.
Yes. And so, since your time being here, what have you got out of one of the tracks or one of the subcommittees or even the opening plenary? Like, what have you been left with that just wowed you?
What's left in my spirit, or what has been sitting within me from all of the experience, from the keynotes, from the track, it's that when we are looking for others to be the answer, we have enough within ourselves to answering the issues. And that collectively together we can co-create what we need that is not too far from us. That actually scarcity may teach us that there is not enough, but there is enough, and that there is abundance. And what we've learned in coming together is that all of us are taking care of those 900 things on the list that trans people need, and now we just get to wove it together on as a thread or the tapestry of the fabric that holds us.
Come on. Okay, that is the word. And so one of the things, we're sharing space with youth. And what I like to do is oftentimes offer up pearls of wisdom. And so if there's a young person who may be struggling with identity issues, family issues, just a hard time, what would you offer up for a young person?
My forwarding message to a young person.
Yeah, you could get the rest of it because baby girl dropped some gems on these young people and what it really means to like be you, and what do you have to be, what you have around you to call into you. Yeah. I B Tech, I can't tell y'all enough what it's been to have the opportunity to be the person to do interviews. They created a media room for me. Like, meeting other people who came and just checked on me, see if I needed anything. It just it's it's an experience. And I can't tell y'all no other way. I thank them for taking the time to like believe in me, because I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I was scared shitless. Like, oh my God, can I do this? Lord, I got it. You got it. It's already in you. It's already in you. Mouthy, you've been doing this for 4 years. But while I was freaking out, going back to mental health, letting this anxiety set in, right? Oh, I gotta baby. SB had told me, she said, you did such a good job. How we gonna keep you for next year? I say, oh yeah, oh yeah, all right. But it was a weight that was lifted off of my shoulder for, and you can say it's validation, right? Like we all want to know that our enough is enough, but your enough is enough. Hell, if not more, right? Like I felt there was more of me that I could have gave. It was times where um, I felt like I didn't get enough interviews. It was things that I wanted to capture every fucking person that was there, and I know that's like a big ask, but everybody was so deserving to tell their story, to talk about their ministry, to talk about the lessons, to lead pearls of wisdom, but it's always next year and the year after and the year after. And so just being able to be in this space have cultivated. And like one of the things too, people will never understand why it's so important for black spaces to exist, but specifically for black trans spaces to exist. And that coming back from BTech was the reason why I had to start my organization, because I can't be in fear of constantly saying what does not exist if I don't go out and create it. And even if I don't go create it myself, I have to bridge together with the people across from me, and then we can, as a force, create it together. And so I say this to people who are in new chapters in their lives. Don't be afraid to dive deep in your purpose. Don't be afraid to walk away from something that's no longer serving you. Do not be afraid of what's to come because you can't see it in front of you. If you dream big, if you see big for yourself, big is going to happen. Big is just as small as you think it is. Once you put a little work in it, because now it's 4 years later, and people are asking me my expertise and my things, but there's so many things I want to build out for Mouthy. There's so many things that I still have to happen. So that continuous growth is going to always happen. Just jump. Just jump and trust and believe in your ability to soar. You have this. Everything that you need is already in you. Nothing that God gives you will forsake you. He's giving you the knowledge to know all that you need to know. Surround you with loving people who will push and encourage you in the ways that you need to, and give you opportunity when you least expect it, so that you can prevail and shine and let the world know exactly who you are. So that's one of many. And something at the end of the month I have coming up, and I just got to work on all the details, and hopefully y'all can be a part of that too as we get to the end of this month. But again, your mental health. Take care of yourself. Be well. Love on the people that you can. And when you can't love enough, go find that love for yourself. Okay? And speaking of love, y'all know, if you know, you know. If you was following me, you follow me. Your girl. Uh, no, I'm just playing. But kind of playing, not playing. But to say it, we are deserving of love of all kinds. We are entitled to the love that we give ourselves. We are entitled to the love that we desire. We are entitled to the love that we don't know yet that we've had, right? You have not even met the love of your life yet. You have not even, and if you have, hold on to them. But I say all that to say, it's your girl, Miss Mouthy. Even when you what don't see me, you hear me. I'm grateful, so much gratitude. It's all how you look at it. So when life give you lemon, bitch, make that lemonade. Okay, I'm out of here. Bye.